how are you today? This is a Love is Alive broadcast from Love Buddy. My name is Matthew, and we're here every day at 10 p.m. New York time or 10 a.m. China time, or whatever time zone you're in relative to that. Today is Monday, the 3rd of June, 2019. How are you today? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're talking about something that can be quite controversial. In fact, how can it not be controversial? The Holocaust. The Holocaust, and you know what I mean by that, although a lot of people have been murdered, mass murdered, happens now, happened in the past. There have been a lot of situations where people have been tortured and abused and put in death camps. That happened in the American Civil War. A lot of people don't know about that. I didn't know about that. A lot of people have been tortured. A lot of people are being treated unfairly. And some of these things have happened in the past. But the Holocaust kind of stands out. It stands out as a kind of a special topic. It stands out with its own kind of special, what's the word I could use? It's a special situation because it's the most publicized, the most debated by far genocide that has occurred. And it's become so controversial that so many people are saying it didn't happen, or it didn't happen the way people said it happened. And there are people that are, people at opposite ends of the scale that are very vocal about this. There are people that fabricate the story and embellish it and make up lies, and they've been caught doing that, writing books about, how they're such a big victim. Because victimhood is a business. You can really, if you prove that you're a victim, that's what the whole legal system is about when people are suing. If the car is defective, or if they slip on the ice, or somehow they get hurt. They sue for that. Why? The more they can emphasize how much of a victim they are, then they can benefit from that. So there's people all the way at this end of the scale where they will take a topic like this Holocaust that happened in Germany, happened under the German control in World War II. That particular Holocaust, although there have been many worse. But this is the one that has been the most publicized, the most exploited, and the most debated. And so people at the one end of the scale, they will fabricate, and there's even a phrase that's called the Holocaust industry, because there have been so many people that have made up lies and stories and really exploited that. From, they play the victim card big time. And there has been a lot of money. There's a lot of money in that. The other end of the scale, people saying it didn't happen at all. These people seem to be, in general, people that say that it didn't happen at all. And you could say, well, I deny that happened at all. So generally, people that it's not the truth. I mean, there are people that are in the middle. They say, well, some things are true, some things are not. That's where I'm at. And I could be called a denier, which is a nice label if you want to put me down and discredit me. So the people that are the fabricators and the people at the end of the extreme that are exploiting the Holocaust, making people feel guilty, saying, look, I'm the victim, although they weren't even there. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't suffer. They haven't suffered at all. In fact, they've benefited from saying, look, I'm a victim. Give me this, give me that. Give me something free, because look at me. Look at how terrible it is. My grandfather was in Auschwitz, things like that. So there are people at the opposite end of the scale, and there are people that say the Holocaust never occurred at all, which isn't true if you want to say Jews weren't killed, or gay people weren't executed, or Jehovah's Witnesses as a group were not fingered and killed deliberately just because of their beliefs. So some of these things really did occur. But the way some people talk about the Holocaust, some people say, well, all those things are true. There were human lampshades, which was that was never true. Or they were making soap from bodies, so they were collecting hair. Well, this had to do with getting rid of the lice, and the lice were carrying disease, and a lot of people were dying of disease. And there was a lot of starvation there because all the supplies were cut off and things like that. Did it happen? Did something happen? Yeah, of course something happened. A lot of innocent people were killed. A lot of innocent people they get killed in all the wars. So those of us that say the Holocaust never happened, or that the Jews were never killed, or blah, 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 I don't think that's true at all. I think that a lot of people were killed, and there were a lot of victims, and a lot of people got hurt. This is 70 years ago. When we look at love in our lives, if we want to live in the love zone, and we look at the Holocaust situation, where people are at one end of the extreme, where they're really exploiting that, trying to get something free, trying to get extra something, even though they had nothing to do with it, they weren't there. Or the people that are at the other extreme, that are just really cold-hearted and say, I don't care, it's all made up, none of it's true at all. I don't think either one of these extremes is ever true in any circumstance, is it? So how do we approach the Holocaust? How do we approach when this topic comes up? When somebody brings this up, I want to look at my notes here, so I'm looking at this. So I'm going to copy them over here so I can see them. And let's look at some of these specific notes on the Holocaust. For one thing, how can we apply love to the topic of the Holocaust? Because I believe that love is the great solution to everything. So if we understand love, and we're using love in our lives, and we're staying in the love zone, how can we apply love to the topic of the Holocaust? What was the Holocaust? We talked about that. It was the claim, the idea that so many people were killed, that, and how do we define the Holocaust? It's kind of like defining God, right? How do you define God? You say God doesn't exist, or some people say your God doesn't exist, but my God does. So it can be the same kind of a vague thing. If you use the simple phrase God, or use the simple word, the Holocaust, did it happen? It's not that simple, right? Well, what do you mean when you say Holocaust? So what was the Holocaust? Different things to different people, different definitions, some absolute lies, some absolute truth can be proven to be true. Should the Holocaust be examined? I don't know. Do we need to examine that? Is it okay to examine that? It's illegal. I think in 17 countries in Europe, it's illegal to question the Holocaust. You go to jail for that. And there are people in jail right now who have evidence against some of the stories, some of the fables, some of the fabrications about the Holocaust. But they may also be challenging things that were true. Anyway, the people who make the rules, the people who are in control of what you can say, the people that are dominating the news or dominating what people are allowed to say and share, will throw you in jail in 17 countries in Europe. They're trying to do it in America too now. So that's something that people have to be careful about. Whether what they say is true or not doesn't matter. There's certain things they're just not allowed to say. So this is one of the very controversial things about this topic, the Holocaust. People are not allowed to debate that. And that goes against one of the love qualities, and that is communication. Open communication, calmness. If you have compassion and understanding, you'll listen to somebody. You'll listen to what they have to say. You might disagree with it. But that's okay. Let them have their say. Let them say what they want to say, especially on a topic that's so old. And is it relevant now? Should the Holocaust story be denied or exploited? Should we say that it didn't happen, or should we take advantage of that and try to get something from that? What should we do about the Holocaust? What about this idea where people say, never forget? Never forget. It reminds me of somebody saying, hey, remember you owe me money. Remember you owe me money. Remember you owe me money. Or remember when you accidentally kicked me when we were walking down the street. Remember what you did was wrong. Remember that I'm the victim. Why else would you remember that? Because I don't think it's possible. I think Hitler's gone now, right? And the Third Reich is gone. And Germany's not the same as it was. Japan was also very aggressive during that war, invading and starting wars with different countries during the World War II time. So if we never forget about that specific group of people that are saying, we were the victims, we were hurt, does that help anything? I don't know. I don't see that as being any beneficial, because having any benefit, because these things are going on today. People are still being murdered. People are still being tortured. People are still being killed. There are injustices going on today, ironically, by Israel. And this is the consensus pretty much of most of the countries, that Israel is, according to the UN, committing war crimes by using white phosphorus, schoolyards. There's videos, you can see that on YouTube. So Israel was founded upon the Holocaust story, or was strengthened, and it was kind of like, well, these people have suffered so much, let's give them a country, let's give them a place. They already had the place, they already had a place to live, and they wanted more. So they wanted to establish a state, and what that state has grown into is something that is under great controversy right now. How do we apply love to that? Well, when it comes to this never forget idea, I don't know that there's any love in that at all. I think love would be having compassion for the people that are suffering today, not people from one specific circumstance and one specific occasion that happened 70 years ago. But if we're going to be compassionate, we're going to be understanding, we're going to be kind, we're going to think about the people that are suffering today. And one of them are one of the groups that is actively being tortured and confined and limited and restricted and abused today is in Palestine, and that's happening every day. There's evidence of that. So these people are fighting back because their land's being stolen, they're being murdered, and they were there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And now some people are coming in and saying, wait, we get to have this. People that don't have any relatives from there, people that never lived there. I have Irish blood, I have German blood, I have French blood, I have Canadian blood. Which country do I have the right to return to and take land where someone else is living? If I walk into a restaurant and I see a seat where I was sitting there yesterday, or my grandfather sat there, does that mean I can kick the people out and take that seat? Or are they there now? And the earth is big enough, there are enough chairs in the world that I could find another place to sit down. So I think based upon this idea that the Holocaust was a horrible thing, a lot of Jews got killed, and then we have the right to have a country now so that that doesn't happen again. It is happening again by that country, is the way it appears to me. So my compassion is more towards what's happening today. It's such a controversial topic, and it can be really frustrating for me to see these children getting shot by snipers when they're absolutely no threat at all. And I don't know how this is happening. So when we look at the Holocaust and we look at what the Holocaust story in its extreme exploitive manner has brought about, I don't know anybody who justifies. I have a friend who's an IDF soldier, retired now, and I said, "What about what you're being called the settlements?" He said, "I don't know anything about that. I don't." In other words, I have no justification for that, and I haven't met a person, Israeli or Jewish or evangelical or anybody who supports these God chosen people concept that says, well, because of the Holocaust, it's okay for us to create these illegal settlements, and that's the settlements. And this is kind of a controversy today. And why am I talking about Israel? Why am I talking about the settlements? Because a lot of this is born from the idea that these people were hurt, and now they have the right to do this. Now we see how many black people are being shot that are innocent. The guy goes for his wallet, the cop blows him away. And a lot of times it's almost always a white cop. So there's this racial issue involved, this kind of thing where people are saying, look, it's not fair, look what's being done to us. And then we have a lot of people that are black that are very privileged, that have a wonderful life. They have no problems, but they're saying, look, I'm a victim because I'm black. It's like saying I'm a victim because I'm a Jew. I'm a victim because something happened to my people. And so therefore, because I take ownership, because I'm part of this tribe of my people, then I have the right to hate you, or to criticize you, or to put you down, or to put you as part of a group that is abusing me, or has abused someone that I claim to be connected to in some way. And me as a middle-aged white male, I get a lot of that. And living in so many different countries around the world, I've experienced myself firsthand a lot of prejudice for being a white person, for being a male, for being a white male, for being a middle-aged white male. So does that mean that I have the right to say, oh, you know, I have the right, I should get extra privilege, or I should get this, or I should get that out of the situation? I should be able to abuse other people? No. So this is why I believe in love as the great equalizer. I don't have the right to say I'm a victim, and I don't have the, I'm not obligated to give anybody any special treatment. I give them love, and we give each other love, and we're equals, and we treat each other as equals, and we treat each other respect. Not treat each other with respect, not based upon something that happened 70 years ago, not based on something that happened 1,000 years ago, but based upon today, right now. What's the situation right now in front of us? Do you have the right to cut in line in front of me? No. Let's wait in line. Let's respect each other's place in line, and let's take our turn. Do you have the right to get free money from someplace? Do you have the right to sue somebody because you're exploiting some idea about being a victim? I don't think so. But millions and billions of dollars have been taken, and the whole insurance business is based upon this scam where people are trying to exploit the fact that, look at what a great victim I am. A lot of it is sometimes total lies, manipulations. I had a friend with me once. We're walking down the steps. He's holding on to the rail. The rail had been destroyed by termites, and he lost his balance because the rail broke, and then he fell and he hurt himself. And so he wanted to sue the apartment complex where we lived. I took that piece of wood and put it in my car because I knew that was going to be evidence to show, because what they did was they replaced that rail immediately. They wanted to destroy the evidence because the company doesn't want to pay an insurance claim. The insurance didn't want to pay the insurance claim. The people that were representing the insurance company interviewed me and wanted to know, you know, what happened, because I was there, I was a witness, and I testified about this. It was a combination of him exploiting the situation, because he was actually okay. He wasn't hurt that bad, but he did go to the hospital, he did get x-rays, and he was injured to a certain extent. So when we look at these victim situations, it can really cloud the situation. And the only reason that we need to talk about the Holocaust today has to do with that, because what is the other benefit? So I let all that go. I say, is the Holocaust, is it really relevant? Is it relevant anymore? Is it benefiting anybody except people that want to say nothing happened, and they hate Jewish people, or they hate whatever they hate, and they just say, look, this is all baloney and nobody ever got hurt, blah, 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 things like that? Or the other end of the extreme, where people want to exploit that. They want to say, oh, look at what a poor victim I am. Give me something, right? So what about today? If you're living today, if you're conscious, love is conscious, love is aware. Love pays attention to what's happening right now. Love doesn't live in the past and try to exploit the past, but love respects and has compassion for people today. So I don't care if you're Jewish, or if your grandfather was killed in the Holocaust, or if you're black and your brother was blown away by a cop. Terrible things, people getting hurt, people getting killed, people getting treated poorly, absolutely. But is that relevant right now with you and I? Is that something you and I should focus on? Does that have anything to do with me? I didn't do it. Does it have anything to do with you most of the time? Well, Holocaust is over 70 years, you know. So has very little to do with anybody. But what is happening today in Yemen? People are getting white phosphorus dropped on their heads. Hospitals and clinics are getting blown up. Iraq, still a total mess based upon what the U.S. military did there. Libya, what is that the country now where people are being sold as slaves? And we can get pictures of that on the internet. I think that's Libya. Not sure. So there are people that are suffering and that are dying today. Let's pay attention. Let's focus on the people that are being hurt now and what we can do to try to be compassionate, be considerate, be loving, be respectful. Even to people that say, hey, I'm a victim because of this. Okay, I understand. However, what does that have to do with our situation right now? And what's relevant right now in this situation? So love being the great equalizer. Love bringing us to being conscious about what's happening now. You don't get to use any victim trips on me. You don't get to use any victim games on me. I'm not going to feel guilty for doing the best I can to be a loving and compassionate person. I'll hear you out. I'll listen to your side. But just because someone that you're connecting yourself to had something bad happen, I didn't do it. And I'm not going to pay for it. There's no reason for me to hate myself, abuse myself, be not compassionate to me based upon something that you claim somebody else did because I'm white and they were white or whatever, because they're a man. You see a lot of man hating, people hate, and this is so unchecked. This is so rampant. It's completely okay to say how much you hate men and that men are dogs. I see this all the time by women who've had bad experiences, and their culture, their friends, the people they connect with, the people they know, totally allow this kind of hate speech to occur. You have every right to say anything you want to say, but I'm a man, and I'm not that kind of person. I do my best to be a kind, loving, compassionate person. And just because I'm a man, I don't think you're my victim, and I don't think I owe you anything based upon that. We all owe each other love. We all owe each other compassion, consideration, kindness, and respect. It's the equalizer. Love is the great equalizer. So when it comes to topics like the Holocaust, is it relevant? Is it loving? How is it loving to bring that up and to try to exploit that, or to try to deny that, or to try to debate that? I spent a lot of time studying that, looking at different sides of that situation. In the end, what does it matter? What does it matter if something 70 years ago, even 10 years ago, even yesterday? Most of the time, there's absolutely no relevance to the situation that's happening right now. And there are people who are harping on things that happened hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. They're still going to harp on that. They're still going to exploit that. Or they're still going to say it didn't happen or whatever. So love is dealing with the situation that we're in right now and looking at the people that, if we want to care about people, let's not care about people that died or suffered 70 years ago for whatever, in whatever situation. Let's look at the people that are being hurt today. How can we nurture them? How can we protect them? How can we support them? That's a lot more relevant because it's happening right now. And there's something that we can do about these things right now instead of living in the past and harping on the past. So let's see if there's any messages here. I don't see any messages. So we're going to wrap this up. It's 24 minutes in right now. Thank you so much for listening. I apologize if I offended anybody. Didn't mean to offend anybody, but I do want to speak frankly about this topic. And I do think that I want to remind people, how can we be loving? And debating the Holocaust, no matter where you are in that, I don't think that's about love right now. If it's an interesting thing, you want to study, academic, you want to have a discussion, great. But let's avoid the hate. Let's let the hate, the frustration, the aggravation go, whatever side you're on. And let's be respectful and kind and loving to each other today. Maybe that's the intention when people say never forget. They don't want these bad things to happen. Well, they're happening. So let's not focus on old stories. Let's focus on loving each other now. And what can we do to stand up for love, to stand up for our fellow brothers and sisters that need help, that need support in one way or another, whatever that might be. Let's share the love, let's live the love, and that's all I got to say about that. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. This is Matthew from Love Buddy. The more you love, the more you live. The more love you have in your life, the greater your life is going to be, the more passion you're going to have, the more joy, the more happiness. If we focus on the qualities of love, if we focus on loving each other and loving ourselves. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here 23 and a half hours from now. I'll be back here every day, 10 p.m. New York time, 10 a.m. China time, every day. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I love you. Bye-bye.